Las Vegas, the Democratic National Committee gathered here over the past week with one worry on every activist's mind: we'd better not lose the Virginia governor's race. It's a surprising case of the jitters over a place that hasn't elected a Republican to statewide office in 8 years, and that voted resoundingly against Donald Trump last year. But nationally, Democrats haven't won a marquee race since losing the presidency. They lag Republicans in fundraising. A loss for Lieutenant Governor Ralph Northam against Republican Ed Gillespie on November 7 could stir doubts about message and strategy just as the party is gearing up nationally for next year's all-important midterm elections. We're ground zero, Susan Swecker, chairwoman of the Democratic Party of Virginia, said inside the Bally's Casino here, where party leaders and activists from all 57 states and territories gathered over the past few days. All eyes are on us. I can understand that, because last year broke my heart. Less clear is whether the jitters will help, or whether a Northam victory gives Democrats any kind of roadmap for 2018. Leaders and activists spent a lot of time in Las Vegas talking about Nevada and Virginia, two increasingly urban and diverse states that bucked 2016's Trump wave, as models for what every state party could achieve if they organized and elevated their activist base. They spent less time talking about Trump's winning message on jobs and fairness, or the states where it was so effective, or how to win in those places with a sales pitch of their own. From a branding perspective, we have a huge problem, said Ken Martin, the chairman of Minnesota's Democratic Farmer-Labor Party. It was the biggest challenge for us in the last year, and our biggest mistake was uniting around Stop Trump. Defeat in Virginia could also prompt another brawl between progressive activists and the party's establishment. Northam, backed by most of Virginia's elected Democrats, won his nomination over Senator Bernie Sanders-backed former Congressman Tom Perriello, a race that some activists saw as a replay of the 2016 Democratic presidential primaries. Northam's defeat would let activists argue that the party that picked Hillary Clinton over Sanders' Vermont, and Tom Perez over Sanders-backed Representative Keith Ellis in Minnesota for Democratic National Committee chairman in February, had once again bet against progressives and lost. It would set the stage for more infighting in 2018. Ideology aside, most party leaders seemed bent on avoiding in Virginia the kind of overconfidence they say settled in near the end in 2016, when many Democrats assumed that Clinton would win the presidency. The sense of complacency led people to take their foot off the gas, Martin said. We saw a dip in volunteers in the last few weeks, turnout dropped. That can't ever happen again. Perez went further, rebuking Democrats who believe Virginia is now solidly, safely, permanently blue after years of population growth in the diverse suburbs of Washington. I hear demographics is destiny and it's nails on a chalkboard to me, the DNC chairman said at a session here over the weekend. Demographics is not destiny. Organizing is destiny. Northam, a former Army doctor and pediatric neurologist, is in a neck-and-neck race with Gillespie, a former lobbyist and GOP strategist. There are a number of reasons to wonder whether Democrats can retain the executive mansion, which Terry McAuliffe now occupies. The DNC began pouring resources into Virginia in July, spending $1.5 million up front to hire 40 staff members. In addition, national staff members were loaned out to run communications for campaigns down the ballot. The party paid for direct mail to non-white voters. DNC Hispanic Media Director Francisco Pelayo and party operative Andrea Peoples were tasked with outreach to Latino and Black female voters. But they're doing it with less money than the Republican National Committee. The DNC raised $4.4 million in August and spent slightly more money than it took in. As of last month, its debt, $4.1 million, was almost twice the size of its cash reserves. The RNC, meanwhile, reported $45.9 million in the bank and no debt. With less fanfare than the DNC, it has spent $3 million in Virginia, helping fund 80 staff members on the ground for Republican campaigns. The RNC never left Virginia and has had field staff on the ground since 2013, said RNC spokesman Michael Arens. The Northam-Gillespie race has heated up in the last month, as Gillespie, who once urged his party to moderate on immigration, launched half a dozen TV and radio ads warning that Northam would leave Virginia vulnerable to the Central American gang MS-13 by refusing to ban sanctuary cities with policies of protecting illegal immigrants and not cooperating with federal authorities to deport them. Virginia does not have sanctuary cities. Democrats have jumped at the chance to link Gillespie with Trump.